Are you tired of getting your heart broken? Are you in an unhappy relationship? Or you have a series of failed relationships and the pattern just keeps happening over and over and over again? If so, then make sure you keep watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I'm going to cover attachment styles and what you can do to identify a healthier partner. Thank you so much for tuning in. Why am I making this video? Because if you've ever had your heart broken, or you feel like you really want love but you're getting your heart broken all the time, it is my goal to help you. And I hope that with what I discussed today, that you maybe recognize some unhealthy choices, or you're able to recognize an unhealthy partner choice so that you can steer clear of those individuals and make better choices. So without further ado, let's get started. Attachment styles. As you can see here, we have one person that really wants love and is clinging, and then we have the avoidant attachment style that's kind of walking away and doesn't want intimacy. There's primarily 3 attachment styles, and then around less than 2% of the population is the disorganized. We have the secure attachment style, which around 80% of the population is a secure, anxious attachment style, avoidant, and then the subpopulation, the disorganized, which kind of has a mix of avoidant and anxious. Why does attachment matter? The thought used to be that we learned our attachment from our parents. Yes, we do, but also our attachment style can change based on relationships that we've been in. And why does attachment style matter? Our attachment style becomes a blueprint for the rest of our intimate relationships, and our attachment style impacts our choice of romantic partners and how we relate to them. So we tend to replay these attachment patterns over and over with new people as a way to find evidence to reassure our beliefs. So this is why we often feel stuck in the same kind of relationship pattern. So for example, if you're an anxious attachment style and you feel like you're always getting your heart broken, or you're always giving more, and your partner's always running away or dismissive, you keep encountering these same issues over and over again. And for example, many anxious attachment styles will tend to date or marry avoidants who can never seem to give them enough closeness and reassurance. And this confirms the anxiously attached person's fear of abandonment and belief that they are flawed or unlovable. So understanding your attachment style is useful because it gives you insights into your relationships, and it can help you understand the difficulties you have in your relationships. Understanding your attachment style can help you figure out how to have a more fulfilling relationship. So, in other words, having a healthy relationship is about choosing the right partner and about developing a healthy, secure attachment. Let's talk about secure attachment style. As children with the secure attachment style, they were able to separate from their parents. They were able to get comfort from their parents when they were frightened, and they also sought that comfort. And their parents met them with positive emotions, and they preferred parents to strangers. So as adults, they're going to have trusting, lasting relationships. They tend to have a good self-esteem. They're comfortable sharing their feelings with friends and partners, and they seek out social support. So secure is kind of the goal. So with the secure attachment style, they had their needs met as a child. Their caregivers were attentive. Secure attachment styles feel comfortable being close and emotionally intimate. They seek and maintain close, stable relationships, and they feel comfortable expressing their feelings and needs. Now, the thing about how to know if you encounter a secure attachment style, well, they don't play games. They are able to be single for a long period of time. They don't go from relationship to relationship to relationship, and they don't necessarily feel like they have to date a lot. So they're very comfortable being alone, and it's very possible that maybe they've only been in 2 or 3 serious relationships, and they're just as happy in a relationship or out of a relationship. This is the unhealthy dynamic between the anxious attachment style and the avoidant attachment style. There's a lot of heartbreak, and it usually involves the anxious attachment style getting their heart broken. And then the more that the anxious attachment style tries to cling to their partner, the more the avoidant feels suffocated and feels the need to run away. Some theories in regards to anxious attachment style, and remember, it's not always upbringing. Sometimes you could have had the best upbringing, and then because based on trauma or based on a past very abusive relationship, maybe you developed this anxious attachment style. But theory of anxious attachment is that your caregivers were inconsistent in attending your needs, and as a result, you hold on tight in order to get your needs met. You crave intimacy and can never get enough closeness. You basically want to mold into one person. You want to be attached to the hip when you're in a relationship. You question whether your partner really loves you or whether you're lovable, and you seek frequent reassurance. So you're like, do you love me? Do you still love me as much as you loved me when you first met me? Do you still think I'm beautiful? Things like that. You desperately seek security and attention from your partner, but this can push him or her away. And an anxious attachment style can sometimes be described as needy or clingy. So this is something that was developed by Sharon Martin, and she wrote out this list of what anxious attachment style looks like. So someone with anxious attachment might think or feel, I want to get close to you, but I'm not sure you want to be emotionally close to me. I want to be around you constantly or have constant contact with you to reassure me of your love and commitment. I feel anxious about whether our relationship will last. If you have an anxious attachment style, you feel that relationships are very fragile. I worry you'll leave. I question whether you love me as much as I love you. I want you to reassure me of your love. I wonder if there's something wrong with me that makes you pull away. I don't like to be alone. I've been told I'm needy or high maintenance. Now here's the thing. If you're an anxious attachment style, it's okay. There's hope for you. Realize though that for some reason you are going to be drawn to the avoidant attachment style, which is a catastrophe. That kind of relationship combination is really bad. It's toxic. Your best bet is to find someone who is secure. And when you find someone who is secure, that is able to reassure you, that doesn't call you needy or clingy, that doesn't belittle you, that you can express yourself with, all of a sudden your anxious attachment style will decrease and you'll relax and you'll feel more confident in the relationship. Sometimes those with anxious attachment style, if you're not getting the attention that you desire, you can be clingy, demanding, or possessive towards your partner, and it almost becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So for example, if their partner starts socializing more with friends, they may think, see, he doesn't really love me, this means he's going to leave me, I was right not to trust him. So these are cognitive distortions that sometimes the anxious attachment style will have, where a secure attachment style might say, oh, it's, he's socializing with friends, he hasn't seen them in a while, good for him. Now, if I was a betting woman, I would say that if you're watching this video, you are most likely in an anxious attachment style. Because why? Because anxious attachment styles tend to get their hearts broken all the time. You tend to pick emotionally unavailable people. That fulfills that self-fulfilling prophecy of what's wrong with me, I can never find love. So avoidant attachment style. Now, these individuals, they are not afraid of abandonment. They don't like to talk about their feelings. They pride themselves on being independent and doing things on their own. They say that things don't really bother them, but that's not always true. People always let me down. I don't need help from anyone. Relationships are a lot of work. I'm not sure it's worth it. Most of the people I date want too much closeness too fast. Feelings are overrated. An avoidant attachment style is someone that can have one-night stands and not get emotionally involved. Anxious attachment styles, no, you cannot have one-night stands. That does not work well. You will get emotionally involved very quickly. They may say things like, I love you, but I don't want to spend every night together, right? They need their space. With the avoidant attachment style, they're always holding you at arm's length away. They may say things like, I'm not ready to move in with you. I don't think I'm the marrying type. I don't need anything from anyone. I need time to myself. I'm not going to change for anyone. People that are avoidant, they have the ability to shut down emotionally. Even in heated or emotional situations, they're able to turn off their feelings and not react. So if their partner is distressed and threatens to leave them, they would respond by saying, I don't care. And so, for example, an anxious person might act out and might say, I'm gonna leave you, as an effort to like have their partner come back, and then the avoidant is like, I don't care. It's almost like it's a dysfunctional magnet. Avoidance and avoidance, they don't gravitate towards each other because you need one person kind of clinging to the other one in order to make it work. Both avoidants would be like, peace out, homie. So you're never going to see two avoidants together. You're going to primarily see an avoidant with an anxious attachment style. And you will not usually see an avoidant with a secure attachment style, because the secure attachment style will say, wow, this person's emotionally unavailable. I can do better than this. I'm not going to put up with this. So what can you do about it? How can you break this cycle? Notice your relationship patterns. A lot of times anxious people will say, I'm only attracted to a certain, I don't know, I know it when I feel it, and I'm only attracted to a certain type of person. Unfortunately, and at the end of this, make sure that you keep watching, because at the end of this, I'm going to discuss a book that is phenomenal if you're in an anxious attachment style that you must read. So notice your relationship patterns. Pay attention to what you need and feel. Share your feelings with your partner. If you share your feelings with your partner and they belittle you, then most likely they're avoidant and you need to get out of that anyway. Recognize cognitive distortions and challenge them. For example, if your partner hasn't texted you in 3 hours, maybe they're taking an exam, and it doesn't mean that they don't love you anymore. Communicate your relationship needs clearly, saying something along the lines of like, hey, I don't want to be in a relationship where I don't hear from someone for 12 hours. Take care of yourself, do healthy things that make you feel good about yourself, and recognize your strengths. If you're anxious attachment style, do not make your partner the center of your world. Have your own world outside of them. Work with a therapist, and sometimes finding a good therapist is like finding a needle in a haystack. So if you don't like your therapist, keep searching. You will eventually find a good one. So here's my avoidant emoji. This is kind of like the persona of the avoidant, right? They're too cool. They're too cool for anything. They don't care about anything. Deal with it. I have no emotions, right? So how can you recognize avoidant behaviors? And I'm telling you, if you're anxious attachment style, you need to run. And at the end, when I name the book, they have a quiz in the book that you take a little quiz and it tells you your attachment style. Avoidant behaviors, they send mixed signals. At first they were all about you, now they're pulling away. Or you hear from them one day, they text you, and then you don't hear from them the second day and they've been really busy. They value their independence greatly. They devalue you or previous partners. They may say things like, man, all the girls I've dated were so crazy. They use distancing strategies, emotional or physical. So they may cheat on you because that's a way of getting emotional distance. They emphasize boundaries in relationships, like, hey, Mondays are family day and I can't see you on Mondays. They have an unrealistic romantic view of how a relationship should be. So they're waiting for the one, and they think they're going to find a partner that's going to hit every checkbox and that's absolutely perfect. They're mistrustful and they fear being taken advantage of by their partner. So for example, a case study, right? Someone whose name is Bob, he's 47, he's divorced, and he has been dating someone for over a year, and the girl, they don't really discuss where their relationship is going. And he's like, oh no, I need to make up for all the years I was married. I want to have a lot of sex and date a lot of women, and I don't want anybody tying me down. They always feel like someone's going to tie them down, like we're all just dying to tie this person down. So they have that bachelor mentality of no one's going to tie me down, I'm going to date. They have rigid views of relationships and uncompromising rules. During a disagreement, they need to get away or they explode. They don't make their intentions clear, and they have difficulty talking about what's going on between you. So they may just get mad and they shut down and they don't want to talk about it. No, I don't want to talk about it. No, I have nothing to say. I need to go for a walk. I need to go for a walk. I can't talk to you right now. You won't hear from them for a while. So these are kind of like the red flags, and you need to avoid them. Unfortunately, a relationship with an avoidant feels like you're in a one-sided relationship. So even if you love them very, 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 very much, do you really want to sign up for a life of feeling like you're by yourself and like you're always the one that's trying to chip away at, you know, their armor? It's almost like they have armor that they carry with them and they're not going to let anybody in. The theory behind avoidant attachment is that their caregivers were cold, distant, maybe unresponsive, and as a result, they became more independent and self-reliant and not wanting to depend on inconsistent people. So close relationships tend to feel smothering and like they're impeding on their independence. They pull away from intimacy when it feels too intense, and they need a lot of time to themselves, and they may resist commitment. So this is the kind of person that you're dating and you're not really sure where it's going, and the anxious person is like, I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to be thought of as clingy or demanding. So they kind of like, they're putting up with this, and they don't talk about like, hey, are you dating other people? Where is this heading? Are you looking for something serious, or are you just looking to date? A secure attachment style is reliable, consistent. They make decisions with you. They have flexible views of relationships. They communicate relationship issues well. They can reach compromise during arguments. Avoidants do not compromise. You tell an avoidant something, it goes in one ear, out the other, right? They're not afraid of commitment or dependency. Doesn't view relationship as hard or work. Closeness creates further closeness. They introduce family and friends early on. They naturally express their feelings for you, so they don't have an issue with saying, I love you. And they don't play games. Now, of course, with this introduces family and friends early on, I'm not saying within the first week, right? Everything is balance, right? Sometimes if someone gives you a key within the first week of dating, you're like, wow, this is probably an anxious attachment style because they want to move too quick. Now, a secure attachment style, you can actually be in a relationship with an anxious attachment style, because you are able to, when an anxious attachment style tells you something, then you're able to process it and you're able to compromise. An anxious attachment style partner can be very devoted and loving. Anxious attachment style, their behaviors. They want a lot of closeness in the relationship. They express insecurities and worry about rejection. They're unhappy when not in a relationship. That's an asterisk right there. How many people do you know that jump from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship? They can't be single. They play games to keep your attention or interest. They have difficulty expressing what's bothering them. They expect you to guess. They act out. So for example, if like my Bitmoji, you haven't texted them because you were taking an exam or you were taking a nap, all of a sudden, like, then they won't respond to you for 4 hours. Oh, he didn't text me for 4 hours? I'm not going to text him 4 hours. Oh, he's going out with his friends tonight? I'm going out with my friends tonight. I'm going to wear a really revealing outfit and I'm going to take pictures of me dancing with other guys to make him jealous, right? That's what this book calls protest behavior. They have a hard time not making things about his or herself in the relationship. So they wonder, like, what's wrong with me? Why does no one love me? They let you set the tone in the relationship, so they don't ask questions, and they're like, whatever the other person wants, because they want to be loved, so they're looking so much for that external acceptance. They are preoccupied with the relationship. So especially this is why it's so toxic. If you're an anxious in a relationship with an avoidant, that's all you think about. It's almost debilitating. Like, you're like, does he love me? Is he gonna leave me? What's he doing? Your work starts to slip, your social life, your whole personal life. You're just like this ball of anxiety. Trust your gut. If you feel that way, you're not in a healthy relationship. They fear that small acts will ruin the relationship. They believe that they must work hard to keep your interest, and they're suspicious that you may be unfaithful. Okay, so here are some solutions, some golden rules to live by. Golden rules for deciphering attachment style. Do they seek intimacy? If no, they're avoidant. It's that easy. If they keep you at arm's length away, then they're avoidant. You want to let go of preconceptions. So someone can be cocky and self-assured and they can still crave closeness. They may still be secure. Or you might be dating someone nerdy and clumsy and they may be avoidant. Are they doing or not doing something because they want to minimize intimacy? So for example, are they cheating? Are they refusing to put a label on the relationship? Are they refusing to move in together after you've been together for 7 years? Assess how preoccupied they are with the relationship and how sensitive they are to rejection. Does he get hurt easily by things you say? Does he worry about whether you love him enough to stay faithful? Is he very sensitive to details in the relationship that suggests distancing? If yes, that's an anxious attachment style. Don't rely on one symptom, but look for various signs and a combo of behaviors. So remember, look at the forest and not just the trees. So for example, not meeting their family after a year of dating. Okay, this is a big one. Assess their reaction to effective communication. Don't be afraid to express your thoughts, needs, and feelings to your partner. People often censor themselves when dating. However, expressing your needs can be a good test to see their attachment style. If they are secure, they will understand and do what's best to accommodate your needs. Of course, if it's reasonable. If you're telling them, I want you to text me every second of the day, that's not reasonable. If they are anxious, they will welcome the greater intimacy. If they are avoidant, they will feel uncomfortable with the increased intimacy and will respond by, you're too sensitive, demanding, or needy. So things that avoidants say is, I don't want to talk about it. Stop analyzing everything. What do you want from me? I didn't do anything wrong. They may consider your needs on a matter and then disregard them in the future. So for example, if you tell an avoidant like, hey, I didn't hear from you all day. It would be nice to get just one text from you at least in the day. The next week they'll do the same thing. Or they go out and you're like, hey, it would be nice to know that you got home safe. Oh yeah, sure. They never text you. They may say like, geez, I said I was sorry. So they get very defensive. Listen and look for what they are not saying or doing. Actions speak louder than words. Trust your gut. So for example, Bob kissed his girlfriend on New Year's Eve and said, I'm so glad I'm with you and I can't wait to spend many more New Years together. She kissed him back and said nothing. They broke up 2 months later. So clearly she's avoidant. She's not able to express her feelings. Or here's another example. During an argument, Kat told her boyfriend that it bothered her that they never planned ahead. She felt more comfortable and secure planning ahead. Dave didn't answer and changed the subject. He continued calling at the last minute. She mentioned it again, he ignored her again, and she gave up on the relationship. So Kat is an example of a secure, and Bob is an example of avoidant. And had Kat been anxious, she would have stayed with Bob. She would have stayed with Dave, despite him, not listening to her, not fulfilling her needs. So if you feel like you learned something and you want to know more, this is a phenomenal book. It's called Attached. It's the new science of adult attachment and how it can help you find love and keep love. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm not getting any kind of endorsement, but I read this book and it was mind-blowing, right? I've known way too many friends and myself that either act in a certain manner or have been in relationships and it's just like, what's going on? What's this dynamic? So I urge you to read this book. It's also on Hoopla as a free audiobook. I have another video that I will attach to the end of this one, how to get this book for free if you want. I hope this helps you find and keep better love because heartbreak is awful and I don't wish it on anyone. So what's your attachment style? Make sure you write your attachment style in the comments. Hope this helps and I hope you find a happy, healthy, loving, secure partner that is good for you and makes you happy.